for those doing HR like a boss, you'd be right at the top of my list.
Oh man. Hey, all right. Thank you for checking out the HR Like a Boss video series. If it resonates with you, please consider liking, commenting, or subscribing to our series, as well as sharing it with a friend in HR or the business community. And if you're into podcasts, the entire podcast episode is in the links below. I started this journey by trying to find as many amazingly awesome HR professionals that I can speak with so I can collect information and insights from them in my journey of writing the book, HR Like a Boss. Please enjoy today's show. And I'm super excited to be joined by a friend, former colleague of mine in the Cleveland SHRM community, John Gallagher. John is leading up HR at a local manufacturer, Component Repair Technologies, and super excited to have John join us. So how have you been, John?
Great.
Yeah,
absolutely stress-free. Things are rolling along wonderfully.
Yeah, just like nothing's going on, right? How would you describe the purpose of human resources as you function within that business mindset?
So, I don't want to knock traditional HR too much, but I'd say that's been the bad rap, is that it's you're managing benefit programs and payroll functions and and kind of you're responsible for a lot of things in the organization that involve the company's deepest resource, which is people. But HR has not traditionally been trusted with the financial resources of the company because that's a deep-rooted business function. So anything that impacts major financial financial areas of the business, you have to really be into the business, understand, what's going on, trends, that kind of thing. And you got to be integrated across all lines of the business, in order to understand that stuff and how it applies. And, and I see that side of HR where, we're in a unique position to be involved in every aspect of the business. So if you look at it from the business standpoint, and you understand who it is that you work for and what you're doing and where you're going, then it allows you to help the company make sound decisions for the people side of the business, or the people practices, the strategy and that kind of thing.
As it relates to what you do in HR, are you measuring then your success on like financial outcomes? Is that how you're seeing most of this, or like where do you put the measuring stick and metrics on success?
There's big things that HR is responsible for that have massive financial impact. So if you are into those details, those are, that's a direct measurable. So if you're negotiating contracts on behalf of the organization, if you are putting yourself into different, situations with vendors and partners and that kind of thing, you have the ability to save the company a lot of money and make the company a lot of money. So I think if you look at those things, certainly I measure that in a dollars and cents standpoint, and so are executives of the business across other lines of the business. And it's very easy for an executive or a president or owner to look at something and, in HR, if you're able to save hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars across, benefits, so medical benefits, huge cost driver, employee welfare is usually the second line item, on the balance sheet. So if you're able to do that, then you're going to get attention and the ability to work on, a lot of other projects, and initiatives across the business.
What do you think makes for a standout HR professional?
You got to be a communicator, so you have to be able to communicate with employees and be able, whether it's selling them, on a decision that's been made, on a benefit plan, or whether it's helping them through, a tremendous time of change. You got to be able to communicate to executive teams and other leaders across the business. You have to be able to work across every functional area of the business and be seen as a trusted advisor, which is difficult. You're dealing with a lot of different personalities that come from a lot of different places. And, it has to be a lifelong journey, the communication piece, where you're constantly honing, um, that ability to not only know something, but be able to communicate it effectively.
If you had to describe someone that does HR like a boss, what would be your description?
So I'd say somebody who's, good communicator, able to communicate across all lines of the business. Somebody who understands that line that they've got between being the employee advocate, being the business driver, and somebody who knows their stuff. They know the financial drivers, they know the people drivers, they understand what their business does. So most, again, not to knock HR, but most HR people that I run into don't know what their business really, really does. So you have to know it really, really well. Otherwise, you can't align what you're trying to do on the people strategy side to the business drivers. So they know their business really well, and they're a constant student of all of the innovation that's happening across all of these disciplines that they're in charge of, and they're pressing into that. So you can't know all of it, but you can stay on top of what's going on the technology side, what's going on the recruitment sourcing side, and these other disciplines. And they're constantly thinking about, okay, what is right for our business? Because it's not all right for the business that you're in. Just because innovation is happening doesn't mean that innovation is right at that time or for your business. So I think they're constantly thinking about the next thing from that standpoint, seeing, does it fit into this business or not? Is this the right time, kind of thing? And back to your point about the reading, they're the person who's listening to the HR podcast. They're reading the books, from HR innovators, across the world. They're, reading, their Twitter feed is full of, folks that are impacting the system, across the region, across the world. And they're, constant student to it. That's what I look at. So you've got a good mix of the HR side and the business side, and they've figured out a way, to pull those two things together.
Thank you for checking out today's video episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, as well as share with a friend. And until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.